once America saw white kids being beaten up, once they saw white lives being crushed, once they saw white people get destroyed, then specifically, he said it was deliberate strategy of the civil rights movement, because they realized, man, we could be hung, we could be killed, we could be tortured. Hey, everybody. I was just going through a laundry list of examples to prove my thesis to Danielle. And she was like, And it's a mouthy title, which will change. But basically, I was talking to Princeton professor Kevin Cruz, who, by the way, is a white man, Princeton professor, history professor, studies the civil rights movement. And, we'll publish that later. But I was saying, me and Danielle say the following. And he agreed with us. So, Danielle, everything we've been saying, he agrees with us. Specifically, we're talking about what lessons we can learn, Danielle, from the civil rights movement, MLK, that applies to today. And, he was talking about how the black community at that time, after Martin Luther King wrote that 1963 letters from a Birmingham jail that you and I often quote on Democracy-ish. Thank you all for joining us. This is the midweek check-in of Democracy-ish with myself and Danielle. Please subscribe to Danielle's Damn Digest on Substack and The Left Hook. It's all free, no paywalls, and also our YouTube channels. But, in that letters from a Birmingham jail, for those who are watching and frequent watchers, we always talk about how MLK, while sitting there in Birmingham in jail, talked about how the white moderate was the greatest foe and threat towards progress, where they prefer a negative peace to actual, a peace that causes some disorder or disruption, where they paternalistically wag their finger and tell us to, inshallah, wait for another day, where apparently, you have to be more civil in the way you respond and retort, right? And he says they're even worse than the KKK and the White Citizens Counselor, right? And then you saw BLM. He mentioned it. He goes, same thing happened with BLM. Now, come on, use a less divisive slogan. Can't we all just get along? Kaepernick quietly kneeling, that was too much, right? And now you're seeing also what MLK was called divisive agitator, BLM divisive agitator, abolish ICE, it's too much. It's the same story again and again and again. However, he did mention that community at that time, specifically the young black organizers, they were so young. They realized in 1963, Danielle, that the only way for this movement to gain traction, the civil rights movement, is if white people joined it and if white skin specifically was threatened. So the next summer, they're like, all right, we're going to be, the Freedom Riders. We're going to go to Mississippi and we're going to have these young whites join us in these protests. And some of these young whites were the children of very powerful whites, even elected officials. And as we mentioned, the two of these young white men were killed because they were seen as race traitors, right? Yep. And the whole point was white privilege exists. He agreed. White lives matter. And he said it. He said, once America saw white kids being beaten up, once they saw white lives being crushed, once they saw white people get destroyed, then specifically, he said it was deliberate strategy of the civil rights movement, because they realized, man, we could be hung, we could be killed, we could be tortured. White America's gonna be like, eh. But once you see white folks, that white privilege kicks in. And let's use this white privilege for good. And so the framing of today is, now you saw the vulgarity and uselessness of white privilege on stage in Davos, and you're seeing in the streets of ICE. But white privilege, folks, can also be a superpower used for good. And Danielle, now he's just announced that ICE is being deployed in Maine. Have you ever been to Maine?
Yes, multiple times.
Yeah. All right. Maine is very white. I think they're going to go after the 12 Somali people that live there. There's a Somali population. But, I posted this. Now, white Mainers, get out your phones, because ICE is now going to crack your skulls. Anyway, I wanted a table set. Give it to you, Danielle. That was on my mind.
Yeah, it's funny because earlier today I was looking at Instagram, and there were a couple of folks that I follow, journalists that I followed, that were posting stats on the Latino populations in, let's say, Texas and in Florida. which are into the millions in terms of those that are quote unquote undocumented, that are in the millions in Texas and in Florida, but ICE isn't there. Right? Like the deployment of ICE isn't there because as the Post read, this was never about immigration. Right? This was always about retaliation. And I think that it's important for us to stop having conversations that give any legitimacy to the moves that this regime is making, because none of them are legitimate, right? They are based on his campaign of retribution against blue states that had the audacity to have sovereignty and vote against him. Right? Like, we live in a democracy where the people get to decide, this candidate, do their policies align with my values? Do their policies align with what I would like to see in a president? And we get to decide yes or no. And then, unfortunately, because of the racist electoral college, we don't even live inside of a system where the majority rules. Because if the majority did rule, right, then guess who wouldn't be president right now? Donald fucking Trump. And so, to me, I think that it is important that white people who were so fine and have been fine for 250 plus years of watching Black bodies be broken down by the state, of watching Black bodies be hung from trees, of watching Black bodies scream for their mothers as life is being pressed out of them over the centuries of systemic racism and state-sanctioned violence against Black people, that finally now they're looking around and they're listening to the same rhetoric that has been used to justify the oppression and suppression of Black people in this country now being used against people who look like them. And now all of a sudden they're like, this isn't the country that I know. This is the country that Black people have always fucking known. Which is why when people say, like, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it through this, I'm like, I know exactly who's going to make it through this. Black people and fucking brown people and indigenous people that have had to deal with oppressive states, that have had to deal with surveillance, that have had to deal with violence and having to, we've never stopped having to show our papers in this country, right? Like, so let us be clear that there is, I said this yesterday on the Danielle Moodie show, Waj, and I'll say it again here, which is that I have said for a while now that while Donald Trump is grotesque, while his actions are offensive and disgusting and anti-American, they are also absolutely needed in order to lift the veil of the lie and indoctrination that has been America. This idea that, like, this is not who we are. This is exactly who the fuck this country has been. And it's why I say, and so many people, people with bigger platforms and voices, like Brittany Cunningham, Packett Cunningham, has said that, like, let us stop making the comparisons of ICE to the Gestapo, which allows white Americans to have some type of distance and turn ICE into something that is foreign and outside of America, when in fact ICE is operating like the slave patrols, which is who gave Hitler, right, his ideas about how to create Nazi Germany. They did not get, right? Nazi Germany would not have existed without the Jim Crow South. South Africa's apartheid would not have existed without America being that shining example of segregation on the fucking hill. So we don't have to look to foreign entities to say, oh my goodness, this is, they're acting like these, foreign agents, when in fact they are acting as they have always acted, which is that there's a reason why the Klan wore hoods. It's because they were the judges and the law enforcement and the store clerk and the clergy, right? They were these people. They wore those hoods so that they could have the perception of distance, right, between the law and their overt lawlessness as the country was changing and moving towards the direction of civil rights. So, like, for the folks that continue to say this is not the America that you don't know America. You
can't
don't
stand it.
know, and you are telling on yourself, because this is what is happening right now, is as American as apple pie, but it is now happening to white people. White mothers are being shot dead in the street, right? White clergy are being roughed up, right? You're seeing the one of the most white skin, right, is now at the mercy of the state. And that is what is having them say, oh, wait, this isn't who we are, because we don't usually come after, quote unquote, our own. But the tables have turned, and fascism, as we have been saying for the longest fucking time, will come for everyone.
We've tried our best to warn, and we will continue to warn, and we'll continue to talk about it and also give strategies, because what Danielle is saying, I mean, what Brittany said is a really good point. And I think it's a good point that I should try my best. We try our best to say it, right? Because it's not even just the KKK. It's not just the slave patrollers. It was U.S. law enforcement in the South. The entire system was cooked. Imagine being black in the South during the 50s and 60s, right? And I asked Kevin Cruz this, and I'll post it later. I said, listen, they were outnumbered and outgunned. The entire system was against them. So how did they fight back when, like you said, the judges were wearing hoods, the police officers were wearing hoods, they used to openly lynch black people, and then the jurors, including white women, are like, that was my husband, I ain't gonna send him to jail. So they can torture, kidnap, and murder Emmett Till, and the murderers can then get acquitted and then brag about it, right? So how did they fight back in the 50s and 60s when the entire system was against them? And so many Americans right now are saying, bro, I'm nobody. I can't go against ICE. Oh my God. And Kevin, being a historian, and he's writing about this right now, said the parallels that we can make is that in those days, they realized first and foremost, we need white folks. It was a very strategic decision. This country will only care when white blood is spilled because of white privilege. All right. I'm just keeping it honest. We've said it again and again, Democracy-ish and the Left Hook and Damn Digest, that white lives matter in this country. Not all white lives, as we saw with white women. And specifically, he said, even at that time, when those two white students were killed for helping black people, what we've said oftentimes on this is, what do white supremacists hate more than anything? White race traders. They called them race traders. They hated them more than black and brown folks, because they said, oh my God, you're betraying your own people. So then and now they called them, wait for it, race traders that need to be made an example of. Who's another example of a traitor? Renee Nicole Good, that effing B. Also, how do you dehumanize her? She's a woman, and she's also a lesbian, right? Yep. So all these white folks who are helping black and brown people, according to the latest incarnation of the KKK, the Gestapo, the Slave Patrol, masked armed ICE agents who are recruiting through white nationalist circles and white supremacist circles and the Proud Boys, look at how they just have rage towards these white women, these suburban white moms, which is why Danielle and I have always said, fascists come for everybody, everybody. Minnesota's realizing it. Portland realized it. Maine's about to realize it, right? So you have the numbers. And that's what Kevin said is, one thing they never had was the numbers. We have the numbers. And he said another thing that they've messed up on, which gives us some hope, is at least back in those days, Danielle, it's like, all right, black people, we're going to go after black people and some of these race traders. Stephen Miller and Donald Trump are so unhinged, so reckless, so undisciplined, so arrogant. They've unleashed ICE against everybody. Immigrants, Asians, citizens, kids, white folks. And the other thing that we have now that they didn't have is we all have cell phones. We're all documenting it. When America saw dogs and fire hoses released on unarmed black people, they're like, whoa, 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 we hate black people, but this is a step too far. Now they're seeing black babies getting tear gassed. That 6-month-old, the father was driving his entire family. He goes, what the hell, man? I was leaving the hospital. They almost killed my kid. Cops are getting tear gassed. The Hmong Asian American grandfather dragged out, and then they brought him back the next day because he was a citizen, right? I think all of this is adding to such collective rage that they've overreached. And now you've seen in less than a week after a white woman was murdered, and then they gaslit us and they're trying to cover it up now. You saw the entire country essentially flip. Last week, Danielle, it was 52 to 54% against ICE, only 28 to 30% for it. That number is going to increase. And Kevin also agreed with me. I'm like, well, what happens if you message? And he was like, yes, once you message accordingly, guess what? People follow their elected leaders. Example, in 1 month, Republicans are like, maybe we should get Greenland because their king and daddy keeps talking about it. if you actually came out and messaged, that number will go from 54 to 60 because people still take lead from their elected leaders. To which I now say, Danielle, and you shared this with me, a scoop from Axios from 4 hours ago. That useless piece of shit, I loathe the Democratic establishment, folks. If you're a fan of them, come to the wrong channel, all right? We got to get rid of all, I'm telling you, we have to get rid of all of them. All of the feckless established, they're not the heroes. They're not the leaders. That being said, I give credit where credit's due. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries told his caucus during a closed-door meeting on Wednesday, wait for it, Daniel, that he opposes the bill to fund DHS. 5 sources familiar with his comments told Axios. As yesterday, Politico wrote that Congress, with Democratic support and Chuck Schumer support, were perfectly fine passing the bill that would fund DHS to continue terrorizing Americans. Danielle.
Yeah, it's, here's the thing. I posted this as soon as I saw it before I sent the article to you of Jeffrey's flip, right? Which is that man has no integrity, right? So even to me, even if you have flipped in the right direction, right, to say, okay, now we're no longer going to we're no longer going to fund ICE, and we're going to use the budgetary process, which you have, to be able to stall, right, the building of these concentration camps and the usage of our tax dollars to do so. Because, folks, this is the other thing too. Quick aside. We have no idea how many people have actually been murdered in ICE custody. We have no idea what the insides of these centers look like. Why? Because your Congress members, clergy have all been denied access to the inside of these buildings. What we know, what we are gleaning, is from the bits of information that we get from American citizens who are scooped up, who are put in citizen-only cells, right? So they have cells for us, right, that are different than where they are actually detaining the undocumented people. And so we have to understand that it won't be for years, maybe decades, or maybe ever, that we really understand the heinous actions that are happening, whether they be starvation, rape, physical, emotional terrorization that we are hearing and seeing about. We're only being able to piece that together. That being said, the little that we have heard from those that have come out and said, my God, I was in this detention center. We had to pay for fresh water. We were given food that was moldy. A woman, we just learned, was raped over the course of months by an ICE agent who has now confessed to it because he was using her and her desire to see her child, and she was being forced to give up her body so that she could see her child. Like, do we think that these are isolated fucking incidents? They are not. Right? Do you think that 47 days of training for these undereducated fat fucks is like, you think that that's enough? Right? And so when Hakeem Jeffries is now leaving his office, putting his finger to the wind and saying,
Wait, Danielle, some new news. Hakeem Jeffries, according to Prospect, and David Diane is actually a very good reporter, to quote one source, this article came out 10 minutes ago. Quote, they, Democrats, are established, they are terrified of being labeled anti-law enforcement. They want this to go away, ICE, so they can talk about the cost of living more. Problem is, it's not going away. Latest, according to David Diane and the American Prospect, is although the Democratic leader, Jeffries, announced his personal opposition to funding bill for the DHS, he will not whip the vote against ICE funding. That's the latest.
So, let me tell you something, folks. Again, he is fucking worthless. Chuck Schumer is fucking worthless. You want to organize as well for those that like are looking for opportunities and options to do something? Fucking organize a sit-in in these people's goddamn offices so that they can't fucking leave. Their offices in DC, their offices in New York. Organize a fucking sit-in, because this kind of feckless bullshit is what is tolerated because we've been indoctrinated to make a meal out of crumbs. And I'm so fucking sick and tired of these establishment Democrats. People are dying. These are fucking concentration camps. These people are slave patrollers. They are beating people and killing people and raping people. And they are saying to us, oh, I'm not going to whip the votes. That's the fucking least you could do. It is the fucking bare minimum. And he can't do that. I swear to God, Waj, take over. Because I just, like, honestly.
No, listen, that's why when I saw it and you sent it to me, I'm like, oh, maybe he reads the room. He still doesn't read the room. And folks, history is a lesson here. You know, if you look at all the appeasers, if you look at all those who are complicit, if you look at all those who are comfortable, they facilitated the rise of fascism. History is a guide here. Look at Europe, the rise of Nazi Germany. Look at corporate America that said, hey, corporate Europe that said, hey, you know, a little genocide, why let it get in the way of business? Look at all the Democrats for the past 10 years. 10 years, not 1 year, Danielle, not 2 years, not 3 years, not 4 years, not 5 years, 10 years. You have Donald Trump, who is negative double digits across the board. This man is farting, blubbering, being ridiculed on a world stage. We'll talk about the embarrassment of white supremacy at Davos, right? He is negative double digits on ICE, Danielle. He is negative double digits on ICE. He is now negative on immigration. He's now negative on ICE. In 1 week, only 28% of Americans say, yeah, this is good. 54% are like, yeah, I don't like this. If you message accordingly, you can then lead the people. That's what leaders do. You lead them, like Zoran Mamdani did on The View. He goes, yes, I'm for abolishing ICE because this agency no longer serves its purpose and we need to replace it with something better. It's no longer humane and I don't like my communities being terrorized. All those middle-aged suburban women in the audience, you know what they did? Now, ICE is openly covering up the murder of Renee Nicole Good, celebrating it, a white woman. This country values white lives. And they say, oh my God, that could be my wife. That could be my sister. That could be my daughter. That could be my baby. They're loathed. They are hated. He has so many scandals. The economy is going bad. The prices of everything are up. Literally our allies are turning against us. Everyone's humiliating us, right? And they can't even whip up votes or even try to whip up votes, Danielle, to stop the funding of DHS when the DHS secretary, they can't even impeach Kristi Noem as she stands behind a lectern with a Nazi slogan. And the reason, Danielle, is, and let's go there, they don't want the system to change.
Nope.
What we need is a transformational leader. We're in a situation, folks, and I know I keep quoting him. I'm going to post the article, but who am I? Who are me and Danielle? Kevin Cruz is a history professor at Princeton. I said, you know, me and Danielle always say this, that these folks, I talked about Newsom, Schumer, Jeffries, are the white moderates that MLK talked about. He agreed. I also said they want restoration instead of transformation. He said, yep. And I said, I think we have a very short window right now with the primary season. Right now, Danielle, 6 months to a year. That's all we have.
Yep.
We need a transformational outsider to run. We need an FDR type or someone who's willing to do the Great Society like LBJ and be pushed to it. We need someone who comes in with brass knuckles and say, the system is broken. I'm coming in. I'm going to use my power. I'm going to flex. I'm going to reform the system and I'm going to crack some skulls and I'm going to make threats like expanding the court. I'm going to run on affordability and accountability. How can I have any faith in you holding Donald Trump and this broken system accountable if you're not even willing to use the little bit of power you have to hold ICE accountable from murdering and terrorizing Americans? I cannot stand these people. Now I'm going to get upset, so I give it back to you because I give you 2 minutes to relax.
Because it's so infuriating. Because all we are asking for in this moment is for Schumer and Jeffries to read the fucking room. And so folks that are watching this right now, I tell you, call their offices. It doesn't matter if you live in New York, because if you are a Democrat they represent you, regardless of if you are a direct constituent. So call their offices. Do the Google. Hakeem Jeffries' house office number.
You didn't
Chuck
say do the
Schumer's,
Google?
huh?
Did you just say do the Google?
Yeah, I said do the Google. Do the Google. Jeffrey's number in his DC office, Schumer's office number. Like, call them nonstop. People always ask me, Danielle, what should I do? What should I do? I need an exact plan of what to do. Bombard their offices, and I'm telling folks honestly, you need to storm their offices. You need to do a sit-in. You need to say we are not leaving until you decide and you tell us that you are not going to fund the Department of Homeland Security. And as a matter of fact, I will add to that, and don't fund that fucking drunkard Pete Hegseth either. Do not fund war machines that are being turned on American citizens. You should have stopped fucking funding them when they began a genocide in fucking Gaza. But, we don't care about that. Now, care. So I'm telling you, disrupt these people's lives.
That's right.
They do not deserve to be comfortable. Call them nonstop fucking stage sit-ins. Like, it is, I'm so sick and tired of their bullshit. Like, I am waiting for the day that Chuck Schumer announces, you know what, I'm going to spend more time with my family and finally fucking retire. Like, it's done. I'm done with them.
No, I know. And I think, Danielle and I, we've talked about this a lot, is whenever you and I have been saying this for a while, we lose subscribers, we lose viewers. Blue Anon comes in and says, we're being divisive. I'm getting a lot less of that. I'm getting a lot of people saying, you know what, I think you're right. And we don't say this out of emotion only. I try to bring the receipts. Make the case for me for centrism. Make the case for me for complicity. Make this case for me for weakness. Make the case for me for Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' leadership. Make the case for me, and I've said this, and I said this with utmost sincerity. Make the case to me to fund DHS, which is being run by a woman that lies about Renee Nicole Good, calls her a domestic terrorist, where the DOJ is covering up her murder and is now investigating her wife and others, to the point where federal prosecutors are so disgusted they have quit and resigned because they said, we're not going to do that. Make the case for me for an agency that openly promotes white supremacist content, font, no dog whistles, because the white supremacists are like, yep, that's our talking points. That literally says they're in wartime recruitment, is engaging war against the American people, which, by the way, Republicans have funded and Democrats have funded, but now they're getting a $170 billion steroid injection, thanks to the big, beautiful bill, where the vice president has said they can operate with absolute immunity, where they're masked, they're armed, they don't have to show their badges. They have killed, to our knowledge, at least 30 people that we know of have died in their custody. One person lynched. They're going after citizens. They're going after a majority of their people, according to their own statistics, have not committed violent crimes, right? Many of them are here legally. The people they pick up, they just look at people who are brown, right? Now they're going door to door, asking people for papers. That's what Kristi Noem said that they're going to do. Unleashed in Portland, that's not the border. Minnesota, last time I checked, that's not the border, right? Chicago, is that the border? No. Maine, I guess it has kind of a border, right?
With Canada.
And now you're saying, oh, no, we're too afraid of being seen as anti-law enforcement because that kind of didn't work for us a couple of years ago. So we're not going to read the room. We're not going to lead. We're not going to create a message like, I don't know, fight the oligarchy, which we also poo-pooed until it was done and explained, and they went to white folks, because let's be honest, that's all they care about is the white folks. And the white folks are like, yeah, fight the oligarchy. I get it. The 1%, no problem. So we're not going to do that, even as the wind is behind our back and pushing us, with Donald Trump literally farting on stage, falling asleep, being negative double digits on immigration, with the majority of Americans for the first time being against ICE. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to play prevent defense, and maybe, inshallah, hope Trump fumbles. We're going to pick up the ball, and then we're going to give it to Merrick Garland to restore everything. It happened in 2020. I'm telling y'all, that's the plan for 2028. That's the plan. What they're betting on, Danielle, is going to get so bad, it's going to be between us or Trump. What are you going to do? You're not going to vote for Trump. You're going to crawl back to us. We know it. That's why, Danielle, we promised to release the DNC audit, the election audit of 2024. We're not going to do it anymore. Make us. We know you're going to vote for us. And guess what? Reform? Nah. We're going to give you Gavin Newsom. He's a white man. He has nice hair. You like his social media account. And guess what? Gavin's so confident you're going to root for him and vote for him. He'll openly say, no wealth tax. Israel's not committing a genocide. And yeah, Ben Shapiro, you're right. ICE isn't committing terrorism. What you going to do about it? You're going to vote for us. I think the people will not, Danielle. I think there's going to be a righteous rage. And I think the people, once it's on a national stage, and if we have elections, I think you're going to see a Zoran Mamdani-esque outsider, I'm putting that in quotes, come in and bum rush like what happened in 2008 with Obama and Clinton. Your take.
Let me tell you something. We're not having fucking elections, okay? So
let me be optimistic. I was being optimistic.
I guess I know. I know that you want to be optimistic, and I love you for your optimism. But I'm going to tell you, we're not having fucking midterm elections. We're not having a 2028 election. And any of these middle of the road, mealy-mouth motherfuckers that think that they're going to run, right, on this, oh, you can't possibly do better than Trump. Basically, what they are saying to you, dear America, what Democrats are saying to you right now is either you can eat shit or you can roll in it. Which one? Right. Which one would you rather do? And I'll tell you that neither of those is a choice that I would take. Right. It's not a real fucking choice. So what Democrats offer right now is not a real choice. They are telling you that you either eat the shit that Donald Trump is shoving down your throat, or you roll around in the shit that we're putting out for you. It's not a real choice. And so I am tired of being told that these are my two fucking options. No, my options are not that. My option right now, more and more, is revolution. That's the option, right? Because I do not want to live in a country that continues to tell me that their allegiance to law enforcement that brutalizes and murders people in the street. And this was before Renee Nicole Good. This was before ICE agents were rolling out. That you're going to tell me that your allegiance to law enforcement that has always come from the history of the slave patrol, that your allegiance to that is more important than your allegiance to our constitutional fucking rights as citizens of this goddamn country. Right? So fuck them and they're, oh, I don't want to be perceived as soft on crime. You're soft on every fucking thing. Because there's not a thing that Democrats stand for more than big pharma, big fucking oil, and fucking Israel. Those are the big three. That's the only thing that they fucking stand firm on. And Americans have got to decide that we're done with it. We're done with it. I'm not choosing between eating shit and rolling around in it and telling myself that, oh, well, at least I'm not eating shit today. What's the fucking difference?
Well, how about a shit sprinkle? Just some sprinkle of shit. Danielle, would you like some sprinkle of shit on your ice cream? And if you think Danielle is being hyperbolic, folks, I give you the past 10 years. Let's take the DeLorean back the last 10 years. If you disagree with us and our assessment.
The receipts.
2016. No one was excited by Hillary Clinton. All right. Some people were, but most of us weren't. It was kind of her birthright, apparently. She ran, she won the primary. However, they did do Bernie wrong. Now, what did I say? Okay, you went through the primary, you played a little bit rigged, you made it very clear that you did not want Bernie or his Bernie supporters. Nonetheless, Hillary gets it. I did everything, Danielle did everything to push Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. I was never excited, but I said, you know what? She'll be fine. Go for the establishment pick. It's either Hillary or Donald. And what did people do? They voted for Donald. 2020, once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. Black and brown America realized this country's crazy. They voted for Donald Trump. Which white man will they vote for? We waited. We saw where the wind was blowing. Black America said, we trust Biden more. Tilted the entire election. People are like, all right, you all think that Biden's going to be the chosen white to beat Trump? Let's do it, okay? Was anyone really excited about Biden? No. Biden had 4 years. He had 4 years and he did try it on some things, but he made mistakes. What was the mistake? We're not like this. Let's go to restoration. He then, one of the biggest mistakes he made, in addition to Gaza, was Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland, the institutionalist who slow-walked everything, held nobody accountable. What happened? 2024, right? 2024 happens. Kamala Harris, black people and progressives stood by her. Black people and progressives were also ones who tried to push the most progressive parts of Biden's economic agenda. Who killed it? Wait for it. The white centrist Democrats, which were Joe Manchin and wait for it, Kristen Sinema, okay? In 2024, folks, it wasn't that long ago, we were told, Danielle, shut up. It's either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Stop talking about Israel. We love Israel. We love the genocide. We're going to fund it. We don't care what the base says. You guys are activists. We don't care about the Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims. We so don't care about them. We're not even going to listen to their small little demand, which just have a Palestinian speaker. That's all we cared. That's all they said. They said, we're just trying to use our power to get to have a Palestinian speaker on. Shut up. No. They sent Bill Clinton to talk down to Arab and Muslim voters in Michigan, folks. Do you hear what I'm saying? To talk down to them. That's what he did. They kicked these communities out of meetings. What happened? Kamala Harris, the first month, rah, rah, rah. She gets one of these corporate centrist Democrats, David Plouffe. David Plouffe, you know what he was doing, Danielle, before he became her campaign strategist? You remember?
Mm-hmm.
Co-hosting a podcast with Kellyanne Conway. Mm-hmm. He comes in, and now Kamala Harris is making love to Liz Cheney. They have more Republicans and Never Trump Republicans and Leona Panetta on that stage than trans people and undocumented immigrants and Palestinians. What happens? YouGov poll comes out and said the main reason why Democrats stayed at home, Danielle, tell them.
The main reason why Democrats stayed at home?
Number one main reason. Number one, not the only reason, the main reason. Gaza.
For Clinton or for Kamala?
Kamala. Gaza.
Gaza,
right?
It was, I mean, what you're saying is you had, again, low lift, just give someone 5 minutes. 5 minutes of time on the stage. 5 minutes of time, right? For those that were undecided. Give them 5 minutes of time. You couldn't do that. You wanted to pretend that it didn't matter. And that's the thing, is that it's easy to erase us and it's easy to silence us when they turn around and they're like, oh, they're the fringe, right? You and I are considered the fringe.
That's right.
We're the fringe because it is so radical to believe
We're not fringe, Danielle. We're actually not fringe.
What are we?
If you look at all of our positions, this is why I understand. The establishment, considers us fringe, but we are more part of the base and popular movement.
Yes. But they consider us fringe, and they honestly believe in their head that their centrist, moderate ideas, which, by the way, are no longer center because the window's been moved, right? Republicans have absolutely broken the center. They have gone so far right, they're in a fucking circle. Do you understand? And so the reality is that for anyone to call themselves a moderate Democrat, you might as well just say that I'm a Mitt Romney Republican at this point, right? What's the difference? What's the difference? Because you don't ever get the job done on any of the issues that a majority of Americans say that they want. So at some point, I'm telling folks, at some point, the polls don't matter. And what they are telling you is that your voice and your vote does. Because they're always going to side with what works better for them and holding on to their fiefdoms. Because that's what they care about. They care about power. All of them.
And in just another recent example, if we're going to take the DeLorean now, let's take it from 2020 to 2024. Let's take it to 2025, 2026. And to put a period onto what Danielle is saying with a big fat period, emphatic period, right? The Democratic establishment has always and will always punch its left. Punch them in the face. Then, a few years later, take the left's ideas, embrace it, and then go try to make love to the right. In 2024, folks, 2024, the same people who voted for Donald Trump voted for AOC. In 2025, the same people who voted for Donald Trump voted for Zohran Mamdani. Do you see a pattern? People are sick and tired of the status quo. They're sick and tired of the establishment. They're sick and tired of the institutions. They realize it's corrupt. They realize it's not working for them. They realize it only helps the 1% and the swamp. Donald Trump, total bullshit because he's part of the swamp, nonetheless, ran on it. Who also ran on it but actually gave solutions? Bernie Sanders, AOC, Zohran Mamdani. What did they do to Zoran Mamdani, and what are they doing to him right now? Just look at it right now, folks. This man is the most popular Democrat right now in the country. He has increased his popularity ever since he became mayor, right? And they still would rather bear hug Liz Cheney and Marco Rubio than embrace Zoran Mamdani. Why? To Danielle's point, Zoran Mamdani called out Israel's genocide. Zoran Mamdani is against corporate donors and the oligarchy. Zoran Mamdani wants attacks on the billionaires. Zoran Mamdani is not throwing the woke under the bus. Zoran Mamdani said, no matter, even if I fail, what did he say? No one will ever accuse us of not being bold and trying. So he messes up their bottom line. He messes up their nice nest they feathered for themselves. He messes up the corporate donors. He makes them uncomfortable. And Chuck Schumer listens to his donors, not the base. If you need more proof, here we go. What more do you need, folks? We just gave you a 10-year rundown. And if, Danielle, I asked this with Kevin Cruz, I said, my fear is if you don't have revolution, reformation, transformation, you have another milquetoast establishment centrist Democrat, fill in the blank. And if we have elections in 2028, I told him, my fear is what I've told you, we will get our first Nazi, openly Nazi, America First president in 2032, who will then say, see, the establishment. See, no affordability. See, they helped the billionaires. See, they bailed out AI. And then you will have a repeat. You will have 1932 Germany. That's what happened, right? And he said, yeah, I see it. So we're trying to help you, America. Like, Danielle's a Black queer woman. I'm a practicing Muslim brown man. We're the son and daughter of immigrants. No one's going to listen to us. Our lives don't matter. Our voices don't matter. This is where white privilege, I say this is the John McClane. Oh, my love, there's no Quran today. Tell Ibu.
There's no Quran.
All right, give me a kiss because she said, all right, I'm live right now. I love you. All right. But we have dance. Sorry, this is what you got to do.
There's no Quran today, but we have dance.
Yeah, you should have seen her. She was like, no Quran? Yay! Dance? Yay! All the kids are the same. I'm like, please learn the Quran. He's like, my son, you should see him. He's like, 20 minutes. He's like, it's like I'm beating him. Then I'm like, you want to go play outside for 2 hours? No problem. I'm fine. What I wanted to say is, Danielle, if we don't have this transformation, if we don't use this moment right now, this is all we have, Danielle. We have the 6 months. We need white folks. We said it before on demarcation. We'll say it again. This is the white people's John McClane moment. This is your middle-aged white dude who saw Die Hard in the theater with me. And every time, it's a dude thing, Danielle. Whenever you see Die Hard come out of the theater, every dude, just look at every dude's face. For a second, we think we're John McClane. We're like, we'll get the door. Like for a second, you're lulled into thinking you are the hero, right? And for white dudes, this is it. Your John McClane moment in life right now. This is it. This is your Indiana Jones moment, your John McClane moment, your friggin' non-racist Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry moment. It's right now. Your Steve McQueen bullet moment. Right now. Do you come out in the streets? Do you protect your communities? Do you use your voice and your white privilege to stand up for reform? Or are you going to go with the status quo? And if you want the status quo, I give you the murder of Renee Nicole Good.
Do you know what's funny is that, I love the reference to Die Hard. And I honestly think that those that are cosplaying right now with ICE, they honestly think that they are John McClane. Just like they think that, they're the ones that are, they don't see themselves in Star Wars as being a part of the Empire. It's this warped way of being. So you got these guys overweight out there with their machine guns, their faces covered, their, in their fatigues, cosplaying like they're John McClane. But the real John McClane would be about standing up for democracy and America and helping those, that are most vulnerable. That's what we see, but that's not what they see. Right. And so I feel like I'm in a place personally where I am just tired of trying to convince people to see reality. Right. And so everything that you're saying is absolutely right. Good white people, stop saying in the comments and this and that, I'm good. I'm not the bad one. I'm the spicy one. I'm this. And it's just then everybody needs to put their talk where it needs to go, into action. right? Like I saw, and I want to thank the people in the chat that have been dropping the numbers to call Schumer's office, to call Jeffrey's office, to like do that, right? Like
Danielle, real quick. I said John McClane. I did not say John McCain. Do not be like John McCain. Be like Bruce
John
Willis's character, John McClane from Die Hard.
Did I say
Continue,
McCain?
please. No. So I think some people are like, are you saying John McCain? I'm like, no, John
Die
McClane.
Hard, folks. Die Hard, not the man that did die. Die Hard.
Yes.
But so I need to ask you real quick too. So everyone is still reporting on the fact that Hakeem Jeffries is, and a majority of Democrats are not going to vote to fund DHS. And so are they like with old news? Because this was like, updated 12 minutes ago. And so I'm trying to figure, like, it's so hard to keep up with the flip-flopping that I'm trying to see what it is.
I think, you know what? Maybe, listen, I don't trust them. I told you David's thing. And so he's not going to proactively whip. I think he wants them.
They still have to, even if
I don't
he
know.
doesn't.
I think what we have to do right now is put the fire of God under their feet.
Yeah.
And to make sure so that he comes out and says, what you heard was incorrect. I actually have told people to not support funding ICE. I don't trust them at all.
Like that.
So I actually have faith in what David said because he would not quote a source otherwise. So what we know, he's let me put it this way. He's doing the bare minimum. Right. He's not going out of his way. So if they come to him willingly and they mother effers better, you mother effers, you sons of bitches, you Democrats, if you fund ICE, inshallah, we're gonna keep a list here on Democracy-ish, Damn Digest, and Left Hook, and we're never gonna forget. I know killing brown people and black people is fine, but if you're saying it's okay to kill white moms, let's see how America responds to that. You're saying it's okay to tear gas black babies? Let's see how black America, I hope white America responds to that. You're saying it's okay to tear gas cops? Let's see, because they're going to get worse, folks. This is our prediction. I'm going to say ours, Danielle, if I'm wrong. Yep. Our prediction is ICE is going to crack more skulls, hurt more people, and God forbid, shoot and injure and or possibly kill more people, and they're going to celebrate it. And they're going to celebrate it. And they're going to sit there and laugh at your face. And it's going to happen on camera, and this administration is going to say, you deserved it. And it's going to be some white folks. So I want you all to pay attention to who funds DHS. And I want your reasoning, and you hold their feet to the fire until the end of time. Because right now, there ain't no excuse. No, they killed Renee Nicole Good, and as her body was still warm, Kristi Noem lied to her face and called her a domestic terrorist, folks. Okay? I tried to bring the receipts.
Do you remember, not remember, but we were all just informed by medical staff that she had a pulse
for 8 minutes.
After being shot multiple times. She still had a pulse. So they actively murdered her, right? Not just shooting her, but even denying the opportunity to revive her, to save her, etc. So I mean, if you are going to be a Democrat that continues to fund that, this is what I need for folks watching. I need you to have long memories. I need you to have long memories, because what all of these politicians, what these establishment Democrats rely on is us having the memory of a gnat. Is that they just throw so much stuff at the wall. How do we barely remember what happened yesterday, let alone by the time, if we get to midterms, that who did what when? And that's why we say we don't forget here on Democracy-ish. We don't forget, because these people love to sing a different tune when all of a sudden their names are on the ballot, right? They love to do a different dance when the cameras are on, but then they make decisions that on your back, right? So I need for folks to have a long memory. Don't get it twisted. And I said this yesterday too. Somebody had posted on Threads and said, you do not love these politicians. You love their social media teams.
That's right.
Don't get caught up in Gavin Newsom's social media team and thinking to yourself, oh yeah, he's really on it. He's really about it. No, he hired a very talented, smart team of people or person, two people, right? That have their ear to the ground and are tapped into culture. Gavin Newsom is not, because when Gavin Newsom sits on a stage and he's asked about whether he's going to tax billionaires, he asked about what's going on in Gaza, you hear from the real Gavin Newsom.
That's
the
right.
Gavin Newsom on social media is not the real Gavin Newsom. So don't get it twisted that you're like, oh yeah, this person is fighting for us, because they're not.
They're not. And I want you all, and what they are banking on, again, folks, as we close this out. Do we have to talk about Trump at Davos? It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It will shame you as an American. He was exhausted. He was rambling. People laughed at him. It was met with silence. It is white supremacy, the decaying corpse of white supremacy and white privilege on a global stage. He mistook Greenland for Iceland. He said Palestinian women birth babies with weapons. They literally birth babies with weapons. I'm like, respect to the Palestinian vaginas. That's the most remarkable vagina on earth, that they can birth a baby with a weapon. Wow. He now says, I have a framework for a deal to get Greenland. It's all bullshit. They're just yanking his chain. It was so sad. Europe is moving away from us. The world is moving away from us. Canada is moving away from us. He's demented. He's dying. He's old, and he's never going to leave peacefully or legally. Inshallah, I'm waiting for the Grim Reaper to take him and drag him to hell. I'm just being honest with it. Whenever his time comes, the Grim Reaper is going to drag him to hell. The Pharaoh thought he'd live forever. Pharaoh died as well, folks. That's the one thing these rich people can't escape, is death. When we were growing up, you and me, Danielle, this actually is very sad, but it's kind of funny. When we were growing up, they used to say the following: there's only two things guaranteed in life, death and taxes. I tried that line out a couple of years ago to, I think, Gen Z, right? They asked me to come speak to some high school. I said, there's only two things guaranteed in life, death and taxes. I swear to God, the youth looked at me, they're like, rich people don't pay taxes. I'm like, you're right. There's only one thing guaranteed in life, death. So I've now updated it. I don't use it anymore, because I swear to God, try that line on young people. It doesn't work. They're like, what do you mean? Rich people don't pay taxes. And so how many people will they kill in their pursuit of this white supremacy fantasy, this delusion, this dream? We need John McClains to step up. We need people in positions of power to use their privilege. Everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a role to play. Protect your communities in Maine. Protect your communities in Chicago. If they go after Somalis and Black people and undocumented immigrants, folks, they're going after white women. And put this pressure on Democrats. I'm telling you, Ruben Gallego's coming out now and saying it. Danielle, they're weak. They're cowards. Abigail Spanberger, the super centrist, is now like being a fighter. They're weak. They're spaghetti. Mold them. And this is the moment, Danielle, where we have to be loud. Because if these mother effers fund DHS, I rarely get upset, Danielle.
I'm telling you, and I see people in the chat saying like, Danielle looks brokenhearted. Danielle looks how I feel. Like, yeah, folks, my rage is like righteous, and it's also real, because I care about America. And some days I'm like, I don't know why I didn't pick a different profession, right? Like I would love to go back in Waj's DeLorean and say to myself, you know what? Do something else. Like, do something nice that, like, in 20 years, 30 years isn't gonna, like, break your heart every 5 minutes. But the reality is, we still have power. The people still have power. And I need you to remind yourselves of that every single day. Democrats, these establishment hacks, only move when moved by the people. So if you all call their offices, if you all stage sit-ins, if you all demand that they have backbones and fight for you so that they can't pretend that it's faceless, noisy people or bots on the internet, you are all real people. Show them your might, right? Show them your might. Show them that you give a damn and that you're willing to put literal skin in the game. Do you understand what I'm saying? So do that.
We have the numbers, and just the way America works, folks, it's just how it is. If you have the white complexion, if you are wealthy, if you're in the suburbs, if you are a veteran and you're white, this is your John McClane moment. This is your Indiana Jones moment.
Well,
this
he's
is
kind of
your
racist.
yeah.
So.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, those movies
Yeah,
now
yeah,
when I
yeah.
watch
Temple
them,
of Doom.
they got an
Temple
ick
of Doom.
factor.
Yeah, Temple of Doom. Well, the movies were racist. He wasn't racist, but the
Yes,
movies,
you're
yes.
right.
But be
So
like
let me be
Indiana
clear. He
Jones.
wasn't racist. The
Yeah,
movies were racist.
John McClane. Be like Ripley. This is for the women. Ripley from Aliens. If they had just listened to Sigourney Weaver, literally, there would be if they just listened to Sigourney Weaver in Alien 1, the movie would end. She goes, "Hey, I'm going to follow quarantine and not bring in that parasite in the ship." They're like, "All right." And then it would just be credits. But they did listen to the smart woman, and voila, now there's an alien invasion. So be like Ripley. I'm dropping some gems here, folks, but they're all accurate. They're all accurate pop culture analogies.
Watch his 1980s hits.
Yeah. These are your John McClane, Ripley moments to shine. And listen, in all seriousness, when it comes to pop culture, I grew up with Indiana Jones. You know what Indiana Jones did with Nazis? He didn't compromise with them. He punched a Nazi in the face. Superman punched Nazis. Captain America punched the Nazis, right? You didn't compromise with Nazis and fascists. You crushed them. And those who are complicit, they're not the fighters for us. So now it's all of us. And like Danielle said, the one thing that we have, Danielle, it's a really, really big tool in our tool chest. One thing that we have, they don't have, the numbers. They don't have the numbers.
So activate yourselves. Activate.
Danielle, please promote yourself.
Yes, folks, you're watching this on both the Left Hook and the Damn Digest. I am at the Damn Digest. All of my content is free. I'm running a 20% special right now, which is, I believe, DanielleMoodie.substack /New Year. And that is 20% off for the entire month of January. So
I found it. Hold on. I'll post it right. No, I didn't find it.
You did not find it?
It's DanielMoodie.substack.com /
Let me just tell you really, really quick because okay, special offer. Manage. Here we go, friends. Okay, it is DanielleMoodie.substack.com / New Year sale, all capitalized.
There you go.
So there I go. DanielleMoodie.substack.com / New Year sale, folks, and it's 20%.
I'm gonna put it in right now. Bang.
Uh-oh. Did I freeze? Did you freeze?
No, you're not freezing.
Who froze?
I don't know. I see you.
Okay, good. Okay, so yes, all the content is free, but if you have a few bucks and you can consider becoming a paid subscriber, please do so. But if not, then just like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe for free. But if you do have the ability and the resources to become a paid subscriber, do consider doing so.
Same here. New Year's special, $3.75 forever. It's gonna last for another week. Otherwise, it's $5. Use the link. Some people said, what happens, Waj, if I pay $5 and I want to get on the 375? Unsubscribe, and then starting February, subscribe to the new one and save $1.25. Even though that's worst capitalist advice ever, but I want you to save money. So if you need to unsubscribe and then jump on and take advantage of it, it's a forever deal. $375, $38 a year. And it's helped a lot of people. And if you don't have the money, Danielle and I, as we always say, are terrible capitalists. We have kept everything free. There's no paywalls on our comments, on anything. Even on our YouTube channels, at YouTube Wajahat Ali and Danielle's at Danielle Moodie. Everything is free. So we depend on the community, and we've decided this is the way we're going to go. And people think we're cray, but I have faith in it, and we made the commitment, so we're going to stick with the commitment because we believe people should be informed during the rise of fascism. So inshallah, first give money to Danielle because she needs good coffee that keeps her sane. And everyone's like, Danielle looks so good. What do you mean 20 years ago? This is the great mystery of Danielle. Danielle can be 75 or 35. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's the power of black skin and positivity. And then if you are a white supremacist and a hate monger, you age terribly like Caroline Levitt. Do you want to look like Caroline Levitt or Danielle? Choose your path.
All those holes in her mouth.
She's in her 20s. I was shocked. She's like 28. I'm like, wow, hate ages you. Hate ages you bad. Folks,
I'm pretty sure Stephen Miller's in his 30s too. And I'm like, whoa.
Kristi Noem, I mean, her face like wants to run away from it. She's like, help, help. She's like, shut up, face. Get back here. Her face reminds me of Total Recall, that mutant Quaid, which is an exquisite reference.
That has the voice talking out of it.
Yeah. The guy opens up his chest and the mutant's like, I am Quaid. And you're like, oh, Quaid is that guy? He goes, yes. I feel like that's her face, but it's like a Mexican with a Spanish accent. He goes, she is a racist. Please save me from Kristi Noem. And he's like, shut up. He goes, do not listen to her. She is a Nazi. Free me from this face. All right, folks. This is what happens when you get me going on 80s and 90s pop culture references. Folks, take care of yourself. Be kind. Please be informed. We'll be back. Are you back today, Danielle, or no?
Yes, I'm back today on at 5:00. So I gotta run at 5 p.m. The Danielle Moodie show is live.
5, and I gotta take my daughter to dance because it is what it is, folks. So that's what happens when you're a dance dad. You're like the one dude sitting there drinking chai, like just seeing girls run around dancing, and then have your headphones on. But it's fine. The girls are happy. Kids are happy. It's a good life. Can't complain. And this is why we keep fighting, so that inshallah your children can inshallah have a good life, a good education, and we can make America great for everybody. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, and everyone be kind. Go check out Danielle at 5. I'm done for the day. Inshallah, we'll be back with Democracy-ish Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care, everyone.
Bye.